But what is like prohibited for the EU? Prohibited is facial recognition, social scoring. Remember what's happening in China, what is happening right now in China, what has happened for years. This will not happen in the EU. You will not be socially scored. You will not be facially recognized even for the Paris Olympics in July, August. There will be no facial recognition live. You will not be able to put a system in the market that reads upon behavior, emotions, real time, and manipulates human behavior. That you'll not be able to do. We will not be able to put a weapon on a drone and send it to wherever and kill someone based on an automated decision. That you will not be able to do in the EU. However, you can do a lot of other things with AI that could be classified as high-level risk in the medical sector, any AI in the HR sector, AI in education, any automated decisions that have an impact on people, their freedoms, their choices, that could be ranked as high level. Attached to that, you have a lot of obligations in the design of the tool, in the supervision of the tool. You have to put a CE marking. An AI system is considered now in the EU as a product. So you have to go for a CE marking. So that's all this regulatory environment that we need to get familiar with. And if we're lucky, we are in the, like in inverted commas, you're in the low risk or no risk environment. And there comes the generative AI. So as I said, generative AI, the EU legislator didn't even think about generative AI back in November 2022, like ages ago. And the end result of all the lobbying and the negotiations is that it is regulated, generative AI is regulated. There is basically a transparency obligation when you put a model. When you design a large language model, you need to have a sufficiently detailed list of what your sources are. It sounds like innocuous, but it's a big deal for developers of large language models to be able to quote their sources. Why is this important? It's important for the content authors. And this is where the balance was stricken by the EU legislator. They were basically protecting the authors, the content makers. You have this transparency obligation that is now incumbent on the large language models. Is this enough of an introduction?
I think it's great. I'm just wondering from Brad and Dan, what do you think about that? From, you know, we've got a new law that's going to stop us from doing a whole bunch of stuff.
I mean, I have a complete extreme view on the laws. For me, laws do not solve problems. They're just the beginning. We had a saying in AI and modeling that said, those who can do, those who cannot simulate. So I'm going to paraphrase. Those who can do, those who cannot regulate. And we believe that through regulation, we're going to solve a problem. No. So we end up by, most of the time, people who have a little understanding of the technology who end up defining regulation. And I think this is really happening, unfortunately, in the EU. Whereas we had great talent, a lot of scientists, a lot of AI people, and we may be blocking them. So that's one thing. The second, I don't believe that the regulation solves. I'm going to give another problem. Take, for example, data. We scaremonger people about data. For me, data can save life. It should be considered like blood. We should consider people, encouraging people, give your data. But however, we need to educate them. It's not through regulating, not through forbidding. It's through education, through changing. So that's one. The other thing, something that we haven't considered for the AI system, especially when we consider it from a risk base, we are taking this mainly from the regulation on medical device, for example, because that's how it came actually. And I'm a little bit familiar with the history on how it has been developed. We believe that all the risks are during development and conception. But for AI system, by contrast to other system, actually the risk will happen through the usage because this system continue living after the users, and maybe what you have designed it for, and when you use it will be completely different. And this is something that we haven't considered. This is actually going to be one of the biggest problems. And this is done through the data, through how the system will continue learning. So therefore, I'm more a big believer in peer review, open source, and education, rather than regulation.
Dan, what do you think?
Yeah, I live on the application side of these AI systems, and as they start coming online, they're going to become paramount to the activities that I participate in. So I work in a company that does digital investigations. We work alongside law firms and corporations to gain understanding of the massive data problems that everyone's dealing with. Really, the source of all my stress and strain comes from the volume of data that we're creating on a daily basis. As we move through the weeks, the months, the decades, and years as sort of data creators in our organizations, we are creating a lot of liability and benefit. But really understanding that is getting to the root of what your data contains. And I think the AI tools, if used properly, can tell a story, can get you to information faster, can get you to the facts needed on a particular case or a particular matter, and do so much more efficiently and cost effectively. But with the regulations that are coming in place, they may not be considering all the different issues that could be at play: data privacy, data protection, what data sources are being built around these large language models to train these different applications. So I believe we're at the early stages. We're in the kicking of the tire stage with AI. Let's see what it can do. Let's be positive about it, but let's be cautious as we move forward into the new world.